Hey everyone. So here's where we left off last time. And if you didn't save your file or whatever, it's a 5 by 5 inch, 300 pixels per inch document with a bunch of clouds and stuff in the background. And I was just, working with selections and layer styles and image adjustments to create a more interesting background. But what we want to do now is go on and try to make sort of a abstract artistic composition just using type and layer styles, okay? And maybe some work on the background. And if you do that, you can come up with something like this or like this, okay? So this looks like a lot is going on here, but it's nothing but letters and with layer styles attached to them, okay? Doesn't need to say anything or, just make something rich textural, just to get experience working with type and layer styles more. Here's another one I did that looks a little different, but it could be something like that also. This one was actually more work to do, I think. But, so yeah, you just start with this. Say, I'm going to probably, what do I got here? Get rid of these two layers I put on top here. Just start with find interesting things and then just make more. So I just like take my type tool. Maybe I'll make some interesting scripty font or something like that. Maybe just like not so many letters. Not the word lorem. Okay. So here's a nice big piece of type. I like big type. I'm going to do Control T, scale it up a bit. Maybe not that font. I'm in the character palette here. Just looking for an interesting shape. I'll use this one for now. So, and then I'm just going to go in and, work with my layer styles. And, oops. Here I'm going to try turning the fill down so I just see the layer style on it. And yeah, that's kind of cool. And I'm just sort of building things up, right? I'm doing lots and lots of layers, right? That's got a lot of layers on it, right? And to make a new layer, you can always just duplicate one that you have and then just, work some changes onto that, different letters, different layer styles, etc. Try to make something interesting looking. Just working loosely and having fun with it. One thing though is that if I go to make a new text layer, okay, the little text insertion marker here thing, right? It has if you look at it on the empty document, it has sort of a rectangle around the cursor here when you're making new text, and it's just like just a text marker by itself when you're editing text. Here it is, the create new one. Okay, see that right there? And then here's the edit one because I moved closer to some type. When you get big pieces of text like this all over the place, it's possible that you might get into a situation where you can't find a spot like this up here where I'm making new text. It's only going to want to edit because there's text all over everywhere. So if that happens, you can always just start by duplicating a layer, right? Like I just did, and then editing the letter or whatever. Or you can turn off all the type layers, right? So if I go down to my background, and remember, if I click on one layer, like say my background layer, just turns that layer off. If I alt click, it turns off all the other layers. Okay, so now I can make a new piece of type. without worrying about editing something else. Okay. And then, generally, if you alt click on the eyeball again, it will turn them all back on. But if you make changes in the layers, like it may not work, you may have to manually turn them back on. Like I just made a new layer, which I think is going to, yeah. So that messes it up. I also put this layer below this background layer, so I probably need to drag it up to the top. So in that case, I have to go through and turn them all on by hand again, but it's no big deal. All right, so this obviously needs work, but just as an example, like how did I start with this one? Okay, here's my background layer. I just started with some clouds, and I didn't even do any selecting or anything on the, or anything interesting with the background because it's completely covered with type. And I just started with, I just put in a big piece of type and I play with layer styles until I find something I think looks cool. Okay. Then it looks like I duplicated it, changed the font and the layer styles a little bit. Okay. Started working with this sort of transparent look. Then I put an asterisk in. This just has a big stroke with some interesting blending mode, like, soft light or something like that applied to the stroke, so it mixes with the background in that way. Okay. Getting intense. Okay. And then I did made a little bit of fritzing around at the end to fine tune it. Okay, same thing here. I just start out with this background. I did a little bit of filters and stuff like that on it to make it a little more interesting, but it's all covered up in the end anyway. And see what you can make very cool looking things with layer styles. This is just a funky looking, looks like there's a pattern on the stroke or satin on the stroke. I'm not sure what that was. I was trying to make it look like chrome here. It's kind of interesting. Okay, and then all the way up to something like that. So, so it should be fun. Just try to make something that's rich and textural and interesting looking, and fill the whole image up with shapes and colors, and try to make it really nice. Right. This one's a little more weirder, but it's just definitely has. I mean, it's more like orderly, I guess. I kind of like this sort of abstract expressionist approach because it's sort of freer and you can just mess around. But this could be something too. Yeah, so just do that. That's all we have to do this week. But spend some time on it and try to make it really interesting looking. Okay, and then just save this as a JPEG and hand that in. Okay, I think that's it.